At 295, 35 homers, and 23 stolen bases, this guy is a legitimate first rounder. You have to take him. And I don't care if he gets traded. I mean, obviously I do care if he gets traded if I have him. Hey, Ed, welcome. But Trevor Story is a legitimate number 2 here. I love Lindor. I think he's a generational type talent. But I love Story as well now. I've changed. You have to be able to adjust in this business. Trey Turner, I love over Bregman because he brings steals. And lots of them. 298 last year. He's only 27 years old. We've not seen the best out of him. 35 stolen bases seems low. I like what Trey Turner has to offer. He's going to hit third in that lineup. I love Trey Turner. At 13, he's a value early on. That's my whole point here. That's why I have him above Bregman. I talked about Bregman last week. I do like Bregman. I just happen to like these other 2 guys more. Okay? So, let me just pivot. I want to talk about an overview. I know I'm doing this out of order. I apologize. I want to talk about an overview of the middle infield position. Okay? Or just our breakdown in general. First off, there's not much second base talent. There really isn't. So, when you're drafting, especially early on, you want to take that into account. I did corner infielders last week, and I got to 50 in a snap. It was easy. It was really hard getting to 50 in the middle. And shortstop's deep. That's the second point. So, y'all know me. Y'all know I'm a ADP nerd. I went and ran quickly the ADPs from last week when I did corner to this week. I also grabbed the middle. Almost to a T. All the shortstops positions raised in the past week. It's really amazing. I think there's like 13 of the top. I don't have it in front of me, so I don't want to bullshit you guys. So what that tells me is, as we start to do these drafts, these guys are the real talent. So keep that in mind as we're talking about these guys. One, you got to identify your second baseman you want and get them. And 2, there's a finite amount of shortstops. Get them. Because here's where, point 3, here's where your speed is. Yes, you can get speed in the outfield. There's a lot of speed-power combo, and particularly the shortstop position. Get it here. You're doing yourself a disservice if you go out and you get a second baseman. I love Gleyber Torres as much as the next guy, probably more than the next guy. But you need to supplant that with a high output middle infielder and a high in terms of stolen base. See what I'm saying? You have to keep the speed aspect in mind at the middle infield. It's a must when you're looking at this holistically. Okay? Lenny Melnick, FantasySports.com. Chaps Fantasy Chat. I love this, guys. I am blessed to have a great chat room tonight. And I hope you're feeling my vibe. I'm really enjoying myself. I'm finishing up my second pour of Basils Hayden. And it's pretty damn good. Let's talk about this second tier. This is a small tier, but it's an important tier. Sorry, guest Roberta. You know what? Yeah, I'll own that. But you know what? That's the great part of it. We're all here for fun. And if I offend you, I'll try and tone it back. I promise. Because I love having the listeners. But this, to me, this is like we're all at the bar having a good time talking about it, right? George does a good job with that, with his crowd. He really kind of, he has this, and again, this is, I am uptight 5 days a week. This is my time to just get back. So, George, I don't think I could offend you. Hey, if you're just listening, LennyMelnickFantasySports.com. Go to the website, sign in. It's free. We have an interactive chat room. If you have a question, I'd love to hear it. So, salute to everyone. This second tier, this is an important tier. Because here we're talking about second, third, maybe one of these guys slips to the fourth round, right? 5, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate? Javi Baez. I didn't do that on purpose. Javi Baez, 36.3. I have him as my 5th middle infielder. Jose Altuve, 6th. He's at 28.7. So again, as we start to talk about value, right? Gleyber Torres, 31.3. Xander Bogaerts, 33.7. Javi Baez at 36.3. You're talking about a third round pick. You're talking about a third round pick. So he's coming off an off year, but he still managed to hit 281. 29 homers and 11 stolen bases. But guys, we all know Javi Baez is capable of much more. And in all honesty, as a Cubs fan, the Cubs need him to be more. So you look back at the numbers that he put up, particularly in 2018, 290, 34 homers, 101 runs, 111 RBIs, and 21 stolen bases. That's what the Cubs need. The Cubs might be in straight fire sale mode, but I'd really be shocked if Javi Baez isn't a part of their long term. That could be good or bad, right? Regardless, he's going to hit in the middle of that lineup. He's now a 6-year vet. He's a career 270 hitter. I'd say that's his floor. I think you're looking at more 300 this year. And I think he tries to be... I like Baez too, Patrick. And fact of the matter is, the Cubs lineup is fluid. And I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't pretty large changes in terms of what it looks like now versus what it looks like on opening day. Baez is going to hit in the middle of that lineup. He's going to drive in a ton of runs and a really talented lineup. At 36.3, you're talking about a third-round pick. I have him above guys like Altuve, above guys like Torres, and above guys like Bogaerts for a reason. I think he rebounds, and I think you see closer to what he did in 2018 this year. 34 homers, 111 RBIs, and 101 runs to go along with 21 stolen bases out of Javi Baez. Sign me up in the third round every time. Okay? The next player, Jose Altuve, 28.7 ADP. You see him starting to drop. this is one of the guys I took note of. He's dropped in the past week alone from 28.7 to 29.3. That's a direct result of the pitch tipping scheme. Look for that to happen in Boston, in Houston, anywhere where those guys were involved. I don't buy it for Altuve. I still like him in that second and third round range. If he falls too far, I pick him every time. That's why he's my 6th middle infielder. Okay? Number 7, Gleyber Torres. 31.3 ADP. Everyone that knows me is a Cubs fan. I am a huge Torres fan. I absolutely agree, guess Roberto. He will steal less bases at third, hitting third. But less bases at his peak for a full year is still 40 bases. We haven't seen his peak speed consistently yet. I think 40 is a fairly good floor for Turner. So, yes, he will run less. But that doesn't mean he won't still have a great end result. Okay? Gleyber Torres at 45. He's in this group for a reason. The rest of these guys in this group are 20 and 30s. I think Torres is a value here. Let's talk about this. He's still one of the youngest players in the American League. He's 23 years old. He hit 24 homers in 2018. And he hit 38 homers in 2019. So again, being a statistics guy, Patrick, quit baiting me. I'm not going to talk about Chris Bryant tonight. So, 24 to 38, does that mean he's going to hit 52 next year? I know it doesn't make sense, but my point is, we haven't seen Gleyber Torres peak yet. This guy has, I know it sounds crazy, this guy has 50 homer potential. Yes, he's not a shortstop. Lenny says that all the time. I couldn't agree more. But I'll tell you what he is. He's playing shortstop. So he's going to be eligible there. And he's going to hit a ton of homers. He's going to be in the middle of that lineup. I think 50 is aggressive. But I think Gleyber Torres hits 42 to 45 homers this year. So, again, at just 23 years old, I love Gleyber Torres in this offense. 270 with 40 to 45 homers. Again, he's in this tier for a reason. Here's the point. I'm not reaching for any of these guys. It's not because I don't like them. It's because I have this specific draft philosophy, okay? And at a second, third, fourth round value, we're going to talk about this next tier, and this is why this next tier is gold, okay? So we've talked about now. I didn't talk much about Xander. I really do like Xander. Let's talk about him real quick because I got notes for him. Guys, Arnie and I aren't on at 9 tonight, so I'm going to go as much notes as I got, okay? So this could be a 2-hour show. The wife's not home. This is what I like to do, okay? So as we go down through this, we're now in our second tier, right? We're in our second tier. We're at middle infielder 8.